75431458.
75431458.
0058. 0049. 75431458. 0049. Yeah. I only remember 148 something with all the numbers.
Okay, let's have our class. This internet is useless. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Sri Guror Sri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvatam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindha Deenabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namani Bhakta Shaktikam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Janmadhyasya tonvayaditaratas Charthe subhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah Tejo Varim Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 28, beginning from verse number 39. 34. So, this is story of Puranjan when he was born as a woman in the next life. Because while dying he was only thinking of his wife Puranjani. And then he was married to Maladhwaja. And with Maladhwaja they had a daughter and 7 sons. And then Maladhwaja he retired to the forest. So Upayame Virya Prana Vaidharvi Maladhwaja Yudhe Nirjit Rajanyan Pandya Puranjaya Tasyam Sajanyan Chakra Atmajama Sitekshanam Yaviyasa Saptusutam Sapta Dravidam Bhubrata. And then he divided his kingdom in 7, and then he had many grandchildren. So he says that Vibhajya Tanyebhya Kshamam Rajarshi Maladhwaja Ari Radheshu Krishnam Sajaram Kulachalam. So after dividing his kingdom in his sons, Maledhwaja, the saintly king, he went to Kulachal to worship Krishna. So I think that's where we ended. So Kulachal is supposed to be the Venkatadri. You know where is Venkatadri? Tirumala. So that's where he went. It's a very nice place. Spiritual. And then Hitva Grihan Sutan Bhogan Vedarbhi Madirekshana Anvadhavat Pandyesham Jyotsna Eva Rajnika. So at that time his wife, Maladhwaja's wife, she also followed him, giving up his house, children, enjoyments. So Vedarbhi, the name of the wife was Vedarbhi, because he was born to the king of Vidarbha. So she followed him, and just as the moonlight follows the moon. And what did she do there? Tatra Chandravasa Nama Tamraparni Vatodaka Tatta Punya Salile Nityam Ubhyatratmano Mrijam. So there they took bath in the waters of rivers called Chandravasa, Tamraparni, Vatodaka every day and purified themselves. So here in the commentary it is said that Sutan Hitva iti Pativrata. So she gave up the children and followed the husband because he was very chaste or devoted to the husband. Patyuriva Guruh Sevayam Pravrittah Shishya Sravan Kirtanadini api Bhogan Taduthan Premanandan api Grihan Taduchit Vivakta Sthalam api Nayopekshata. So it's compared to a disciple who is very much devoted to the Guru and engaged in the service of the Guru, and therefore does not care even performing his regular sadhana of hearing, chanting, kirtan, etc. and the bliss which may come from that. That is the meaning of giving up house and giving up the bhoga or enjoyment, or living in a solitary place, but engages in the service of the Guru. Sri Guru Sevaya eva sukhena sarva sadhya siddhi artham iti upadesha vyanjata. So it is indicated here that simply by doing service to Guru, then one attains all perfection. This is the instruction given. So one can perform one's sadhana, but doing service to Guru is even better than that. That is the significance of this. Madhyati iti madiram Sri Bhagavad Rupam Tatra Ikshanam Yasya iti Sandham. So she is called here Madirekshana. Madira is wine or liquor and Ikshana is eyes. So when someone drinks liquor, then eyes become little
Red.
bigger or small?
Small.
Small?
No experience.
Yes?
They become red.
They become reddish.
Yes.
And if you take bhang, they become small.
Mm.
So here Madirekshana means that the eyes start rolling. So her eyes were naturally like that, as if she is intoxicated. Or the meaning is that by seeing her eyes one felt intoxicated. It means beautiful eyes. That's what it means. But he gives the other spiritual meaning is that Madhyati iti Madiram. That Madiram comes from the root Mad, which means Madharsha, which makes you happy. Because when people drink liquor, they are happy. Right? That's why they drink. If somebody is in anxiety, then you drink liquor, you forget your anxiety. So Madira here refers to the form of the Lord, because that's what makes a devotee happy. And Ikshana means looking, so Madirakshana means one who is always looking at the form of the Lord. So Madirakshana, this is the meaning given by Jiva Goswami. Katha pakshetu madara ikshnayo yasyasa param tarunni api. And as far as the story is concerned, Madirakshana means one who is very young. So a young woman has eyes like intoxicated person, or as if she is intoxicated. So what the king was doing there, he engaged in the austerities. Kandashti bhir fal moola falaihi pushpaparnais trinodakaihi vartamane shanir gatra karshanam tapa astata. So he initiated his body by engaging in tapasya or austerities while eating the roots or the fruits from the trees, flowers, and then leaves, and then grass, and then only water. So these are described. Meaning is that he starts giving up the previous one and goes to the next one. So that means finally he was living only on the water, and thus he was becoming watermelon. Because he is full of water. Your body is full of water. So Ubhyatra antarbahishya atmano malam kshalayans tapastita. He was purified inside and outside by performing all these austerities. Tasya tapasyanam prithuvad ati utkantham mulakam eva vyakhya. So just as Prithu Maharaj performed austerity, if you remember, he also at the end of his life went to forest and his wife Archi followed him. So he says that why a devotee has to perform tapasya. So he says it simply means the eagerness to see the Lord. And they are so eager to see the Lord that they lose interest in eating. And more they become eager, and more they become renounced from any enjoyment, including the eating. Because you were saying other day that eating is also an addiction, right? What kind of addiction is this?
Well, it's a stimulant for your body, isn't it?
Hmm?
It's a stimulant for your body.
Yes. So when you get stimulated from the meditation on the Lord, then this stimulant is not needed. So he says this is to be understood. Sitoshna vata varshani shuta pipase priya priya sukha dukkhe iti dvandan ajayat samadarshan. So he became controller of all the dualities, means he was not disturbed by any duality such as heat or cold. So we become disturbed by the duality when it is very cold, then that is one disturbance. Then we are thinking that how summers are nice, right? When it is summer hot, we think actually winter is better. So in winter we think summer is good. When summer comes then we think winter is better. and Kshuta Pipashe. So hunger and thirst, and Priya and Apriya, favorable and unfavorable, Sukha and Dukkha, happiness and distress. So he was equanimous in every situation. Means nothing bothered him, because the biggest disturbance comes from hunger. So to tolerate hunger is not an easy job. There is no more suffering than hunger. There are various types of suffering, but the greatest suffering is from hunger. If of course you have the fire in the stomach. Some people don't feel hungry, so they don't know what it means to suffer from hunger. But when you have good fire and you don't get food, then you know how painful it is. So in Sanskrit there is a saying, Nasti Kshudasanam Dukkham. There is no more dukkha or misery than Kshuddha, or hunger. So this is a very great suffering which one has. So he was balanced in all this situation. Tapsa Vidya Pakva Kashayo Niyamir Yamehi Yuje Brahmani Atmano Vitaksha Anilashama. So by tapasya means austerities, by knowledge. Pakva Kasaya means he became purified. Kasaya is the impurities. And Pakva Kasaya means that it is ripe, which signifies that one becomes purified. And Niyamai, he was following all the rules and regulations as already described. So, what was he doing? Yuje Brahmani Atmana. He engaged his mind in Brahman. And Vijitaksha Anilasha. He controlled his senses. Aksha means the senses, and Anila is air, bodily ears, and Asha is the mind. So mind and airs, they are related in the senses, because all the senses in the body, they function on the movements of the air. So he controlled that, and therefore he became equanimous. So Brahmani Uttara Shloka Spashti Bhutarthe Vasudeve Atmanam Mana. So the word Brahman, of course, naturally and usually means impersonal aspect. But it says that Brahman here means Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, as it will become clear from the upcoming verses. Because sometimes meaning has to be given seeing the context. So although the word Brahman is used, and it may appear that he was meditating on Brahman, but he makes it very clear that Brahman here means Vasudeva. And Atma is mind. The word Atma has different meanings. So then what did he do? Aste sthanurave katra divyam varsha satam sthira vasudeve bhagavati nanyad veda udvahan rati. So he remained situated in one place like a stump of a tree, immovable, for 100 divine years. Did not move because he already conquered his hunger and thirst. He already conquered his suffering from heat or cold. So there was nothing which could disturb him. And his mind was totally fixed on Vasudeva. So now, because here it is very clearly said that he was meditating on Lord Krishna. Therefore, the word Brahman in the previous verse should also mean Krishna. Nanyad Veda Udvahan Ratim. He did not know anything else except the Lord, because he was carrying the Rati or love for him in his heart. So that is the characteristic of love, that it is naturally brings the mind to focus on the object of love. And we have love, even in the material world, if we have love for somebody, the mind naturally is focused on that. There is no need of practicing any meditation. So in his case also, he was completely situated in thoughts of the Lord. Tadrish smaran bhaktya bhagavati ratir avyachinna jata. So because he was engaged in the smaran or remembrance of the Lord, smaran bhakti, then his devotion to the Lord was unbroken, continuous. So just like the flow of the river, Ganga from the mountains to the ocean. So that's how the mind continuously flowed. Aste iti, so it is fixed. स व्यापकतया आत्मानं व्यतिरिक्तया आत्मनि विद्वान् स्वप्नैव अमर्ष साक्षिणं विररामः. So आत्मानं व्यतिरिक्तया आत्मनि विद्वान् स्वप्नैव अमर्ष साक्षिणं विररामः. So his mind was completely focused. There was no thought of anything else, and therefore everywhere he only saw the Lord. As Krishna says that Yamam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chami Pashyati. See everything in me and me in everything else. So Tasyam na pranashyami sachami na pranashyati. I'm not lost to him. So that is the meaning, that Vyapakteya, that everywhere as if Lord is existing, Vyapakteya Atmana, Vyatiriktaya Atmana, and also in the self, as if the Lord is just within him. This is how he saw the Lord, and therefore Viraramha Sakshinam, he stopped from every other thought, Amarsa Sakshinam. So Vishnu Chakravarti has an interesting comment on this. He says, Tadrish Ratyacha Sarvatra Bhagavad Spurti Rabhudityaha Saiti. By that Rati, then everywhere there was inspiration of the Lord. So this is a very interesting quality of the mind, that when mind meditates on something, then that particular object becomes present. In this particular case, of course, it is Lord who is present. But if you study the Yoga Sutras, then they also describe like that. And if that object becomes manifest right there, that is the Ritambhara Pragya, then you see the object directly, separation. So Tadrish Ratyacha Sarvatra Bhagavad Spurti Rabhudityasa iti Vyapaktaya Jatratittvena Sarvasu eva Dikshu Spurat Brahma Ruptaya Vidwan Jana. So in all directions there was just this spurti or inspiration or experience of the Lord, like Brahman. And tadapi atmani swasmin vyatiriktaya vyuktatveneva jnana. And then he saw it himself as separate from everything else. Premotkantha tapena virarama murcha prapta. So he is bringing a very special meaning here to this Viraram as Murcha, that he became unconscious because of too much love. So when there is excessive love, then the senses, they start attacking each other. And because there is spurti, then every sense wants to get the attention of the mind for itself. The eyes only want to see, and the nose want to smell, and the ears want to hear, but mind is only one. And our senses can function only when the mind is with that particular sense. There is no multitasking. So when this happens, and all the senses are vying for the attention of the mind, then mind faints. So there was murcha because of premodkanta. Virahotha spurti janit bhagavad darshanena viraha na samyati tyatra drishtanta swapneva janam. So when there is separation from the Lord, then the devotee get the spurti as if he is seeing the Lord, as if the Lord is right there. This is the characteristic of meditation. But this darshan of spurti does not quell the separation. One continues to feel the separation still. It is not same as the Lord is personally present. So therefore he says here that swapna eva, that Vidwan swapna eva amarsha sakshina, that he considered this like a dream. So just as when you have too much separation from somebody, you sleep at night, then you dream of that person, right? But then that does not give you satisfaction. You wake up and you realize that it was a dream. Nahi swapne bhukten odanadina swapno thitasya janasya kshuda samyati. Just as if you eat rice in the dream, or maybe pizza if you are from Italy. But when you wake up, then you are still hungry. Your hunger is not satisfied just because you ate a nice meal in the dream. So he says, in the same way, if one has the spurti of the Lord because of separation, it does not give complete satisfaction. There is some satisfaction, just as in the dream you feel satisfied, especially if you are fasting. If you are doing Nirjala Ekadasi, then you fall asleep, then in the dream you may dream of the food, but that does not fill the stomach. Nanu spurtau kim pramanam iti vishnasti amarsho. So he says that what is the proof that he had this spurti of the Lord? So that is described by the word amarsha. Antakarana vritti saiva sakshi natu lochanam yatratam. So the word amarsha is used in the sense of like deliberation, just like we have the word paramarsha. So paramarsha means to have consultation, right? Yes. So similarly the word amarsha, or you have vimarsha, vichar vimarsha, right? Vichar vimarsha, paramarsha, amarsha, it's from the same root, amrisha. So he is saying that this amarsha is an antakarana vritti. And antakarana vritti when one has this spurti of the Lord. Because whatever one sees, whether it is in the dream or in the wakeful state, it is seen only through the vritti. Without vritti, there is no knowledge. Right? That's the Sankhya philosophy, that is what yoga says. So that is accepted here in Bhagavatam also. Without antakaram, so even if you see the Lord in meditation, it has to be seen only through the mind. Manasaiva drashtavya. It's not seen by anything else. This is what many people don't understand. They think that the soul is seen. In the conditioned state, the soul cannot see directly. Its knowledge comes only through the vritti. So there is a special type of vritti which is formed. In the Vedanta, Brahma, Advaita Vedanta also, they have Brahmakara vritti. And they describe that how you have the aparokshanubhuti. And they say that when all other vrittis are stopped, then there is a Brahmakara vritti which is called aparokshanubhuti. So in Vaishnava Vedanta we have the Amarsha vritti. Or if Lord becomes manifest directly, then there is a vritti. But without vritti there is no knowledge. So this is a special type. It says Amarsho Nama Antakaran vritti Saeva Shakshi Natu Lochanam.
Can you reference that in the Yoga Sutra, just by curiosity?
Yeah, this is, you have 5 types of vritti.
Panchadaya.
Right?
Yeah.
Praman, Viparya, Nidra,
Smriti.
Vikalpa,
Pika.
and Smriti. So this will come in the Pramana.
Pratyaksha. Pramana.
No, not protection. This is he's actually saying Saiva Shakshi Natu Lochanam. The eye is not working. Because this vritti is formed directly, not through the senses. This vritti is not made through the senses here. If it is made through the senses, means God is standing in the front. That is the difference. So it is more.
What's the yogi pratyaksha?
Yoga is protection. That is, yes. That's why it's like that Ritambhara Pragya type. So when it happens to the senses directly, then it will be protection pramana. And this is the yoga's protection. So this is without the contact of the senses. But when one sees the Lord directly, if Lord becomes manifest, then that is through the senses. That is protection. So for that he is making a special vritti. Antakaran vritti nam virha santap anapagamat lochanabhyam tad darshanam api tat spurti janitam eva iti anubhavat iti bhava. So he says that antakaran vritti nam virha santap anapagamat. That when this antakaran vritti is formed, then the distress of separation is not removed. Lochanabhyam tad darshanam api tat spurti janitam eva iti anubhavat. And at that time, if one sees through the eyes, or it looks like seeing through the eyes, then it is also spurti only, not really that he is seeing directly. So this spurti is such that it's very difficult, because obviously the person is not sleeping in this state. Although he gave the example of sleeping That like when you dream at night and you eat food, then you wake up, then your stomach is not full. You realize that. In this particular case, it's not that he's having the spurti and then the spurti stops and then he realizes it was only spurti. Even while having the spurti, the person is feeling dissatisfied yet. And this spurti happens with open eyes. It is not that one sleeps, the eyes are closed and then one is seeing the Lord. So this can happen with the open eyes only. Just like Lord is there. Therefore he says, Lochnabhyam tad darshanam api tat spurti janitam. So one may even see as if yes, Krishna just walked away with the eyes. And this is all the spurti. So this, I don't think there is any other name. It cannot fall in this five.
I sometimes translate spurti by hallucination.
It's not really hallucination
But it's like a hallucination.
because it is not unreal like hallucination.
But a hallucination means that it appears to be real.
Yeah. But
So,
still it cannot be said to be. I mean, you can say it is like hallucination, but it is not hallucination.
Well, it's just like Radharani's thinking that she's having a hallucination of Krishna. And then, like for instance, in that example that's given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Mahaprabhu sending the message by Jagadananda Pandit to his mother, and his mother is offering food, and then she sees that the food is gone, and she saw Nimai eating the food, but she thinks it's just a hallucination. Then he has to tell her in the message that he was really there.
Yeah, so I don't know whether we can really use the word hallucination for it.
You don't really
Because
have to.
he's actually eating it. It's a different. I don't think it can fall into any of these five types of vrittis. It's the yoga's thing. It's beyond that.
Well, of course, yoga doesn't take into account the possibility of transcendental, non-material experience. I don't think, anyway.
I don't know. Probably this.
Because prakriti is always material, so there's no.
In case of their transcendental, then there is no vritti. That is tadadrashtu swarupa avasthanam. That's chitta vritti nirodha.
But then it's tada drashtu, the drashtu, he's still drashta.
Yeah, but he is not seeing. Drashta does not mean that he has to see. It means he is the one who sees, but now there is nothing to see. Therefore he is seeing himself. Swarupa avasthanam. Because there is no vritti, how can he see? Without vritti, there is no question of seeing.
Well, but just because I'm just doing this, so don't mind. But Swami Veda says several times there in the first chapter that just because the vrittis, the nirodha of the vritti does not mean that the vrittis are completely stopped. It means that simply that that's why he says he doesn't agree with the translation that nirodha means stopped. He says the vrittis are still going on, but that one is separate from them. One is not under their influence or doesn't identify with the vrittis. So he doesn't accept that
I
nirodha.
don't think that's what the Yoga Sutras are saying. And what is the meaning of asampragyat samadhi? You go from sampragyat, where there is only one vritti, and then even that has to be given up to come to asampragyat. So where is the question of vritti?
But the consciousness is there and prakriti is still there.
Yeah, but
So what does it do? Then there's no life, nothing. Everything's finished. It's just like dying.
Yeah. Really
Well then, so
speaking.
how does that? So how that you can come back from asampragyata samadhi? How can you come? You couldn't even come back from asampragyata samadhi if that was the case.
No, you're not dead. You're just like dying, but you're not dead. That's
Well, he says that there's sanskara matra shesha. But even
you come back because the karma is there.
no, I have to go back and look and see exactly what he said there. Because
There's no question
He's
of
saying that
vritti.
there's a.
I mean, if vritti is there, then why he's not seen? What makes him?
How could he see anything? You couldn't see the yogi, the siddha yogi wouldn't be able to see, wouldn't be able to speak, wouldn't be able to do anything.
No. You see, obviously when he's speaking and all that, he's not in a sampragyat state. But in a sampragyat state, there is no question of yogi speaking to anybody. It's not possible. There is no question of, he cannot hear anything. Yes, he is completely cut off. That is the very meaning of a sampragyat. Because the only way you contact this world is through the vritti. Now there is no more vritti. So therefore, even the experience of these people, what you reading in this Hariharananda, what he's writing.
Who?
Hariharananda?
Oh, in the Yoga Sutra commentary, Aranya.
Yeah, so he also said that you basically sit in that state, you don't feel anything. You can sit for hours and don't feel any time. Because how can you even feel time? You feel time when you see change in the vritti. You don't even have vrittis, you don't feel time. Yes.
About this different type of vritti.
I mean, if you say there is a vritti, then you can say that this asampragyat samadhi itself is a vritti.
Well, that's denied.
And that vritti means that no vrittis. Means the vritti abhava itself can be considered as a vritti, just like in the deep sleep. What happens in deep sleep? It is very interesting that in the Yoga Sutra, nidra is accepted as a vritti. But nidra means no vritti. So no vritti itself is counted as a vritti. But he comes to know of that only when he wakes up. And he says that this leaves a samskara, therefore he remembers it. But what does he remember? That I didn't experience anything. So what he remembers is ignorance of any experience, lack of any experience, and that lack of any experience is also counted as a vritti. And therefore here yoga matches with nyaya, because in nyaya abhava is considered as an entity. Right? In abhava they have seven padarthas. So they say that you can see abhava. This is where Advaita Vedanta fights with Nyaya, where is tooth and nail. But yoga seems to agree with Nyaya, because they say that with the sense with which you perceive an object, you also perceive an abhava with the same sense. Yeneva yenindriyena yasya abhava yat pratakshate tasya bhava tad jati tatena indriya grihiyate. That the jati and abhava are also seen by the same sense. So for them abhava has satta. And satta is not the right word, but
Existence.
has an existence. So that's why they have a relationship of adhara and adhyaya. So Vedanta says that abhav does not have separate thing. Abhav is adhikaran swarup. It's not a separate thing. So that's why for that they have accepted a separate pramana. Anuplabdhi. Anuplabdhi pramana.
But that's what Devadatta is. Which one is it? That's how does that one work? Anuplabdhi?
Anuplabdhi says that because I don't see that object there, Therefore there is an abhava of that object. Now uplabhyate. Yadi syat tari uplabhyate. If it is there, then I will see it. But because I don't see it, it is not there. Therefore, there is an abhava. So there is a very subtle difference. It looks, what is this these people are fighting for? Yeah, for a common person it looks like that. And what is anuplabdhi? Seems to have the same meaning as abhava. But it's a very technical difference.
So what is why are the Vedantins against
Because then duality will come. So they say when Brahman is there, so if you say in Brahman there is abhava of Maya, so then you will say, well, there is a duality because there is Brahman and there is abhava. He says, no, abhava is adhikaran swarup. So abhava is non-different from Brahman. So it remains Advaita. They fight for that. But therefore they don't accept that there is what you call drashta in deep sleep. Drashtritva, kartritva, bhoktritva, they are not the qualities of Brahman. They become manifest only when Brahman is in contact with the mind. For this reason. Yes.
So about this feeling not satisfied, because now you were saying two things. One, that the Lord manifests itself and the person outside and the person is perceiving it through the senses. Okay?
Yes.
Means that the senses are giving the beauty of the Lord. And then in the other side, you say that this Lord manifests directly, not in the.
Yeah, there is a perception. It's like the object is like not there, and still you perceive as if it's there, as like in a dream.
And this doesn't give satisfaction, right?
Yeah, just like it is described, as he was saying, or you will see that Yashoda is churning the milk when Krishna left Vrindavan, and then she feels as if Krishna is standing right next to her and asking for butter. She feels like that. So this is a type of feeling she is getting. Obviously, if she is getting a feeling, then there has to be something within too. There has to be a vritti to feel that. But she also knows that he is not there simultaneously. It is like a bhed and abhed type of feeling.
And sometimes, like if you see the shoes of somebody, you think to the person. Let's say that there are the shoes outside of somebody whom you know, and you recognize the person because you see the shoe.
Yeah, but it's not like that.
It's not like
It's like they see that he is there.
they see that he's there.
Yeah. And they may even hear the sound. And if he's saying something. But at the same time, it's not there. So when there was intense separation, they had this. So this is called spurti. I really don't know if there is any appropriate translation for this.
But the perception is through the senses. I mean, there is a vritti which comes through the senses.
Yeah. So this is only because of meditation on that object that this feeling comes inside.
So, can I just go back to the sampragyata and the sampragyata? Because the asampragyata samadhi, so at some of the Brahmavadis, they will accept that sampragyata samadhi is they agree with this.
Yeah.
But the Vaishnavas, we only go as far as sampragyata samadhi, we don't have any asampragyata samadhi.
No, we also accept it, but we don't think that this is our goal. And we don't consider this as the highest.
But
They
if
consider this as the highest, just as they think that Brahman realization is higher than having Krishna.
so we believe in then, or
Sampragyata.
we believe that the spirit, the senses and the mind are spiritualized, and become capable of concentration on, and when you become one-pointed on Krishna, then that is, the mind becomes capable of direct perception of Krishna through the through those transformed senses.
Yes.
Okay.
So the senses, they get the power now to see the Lord, because the internal potency of the Lord descends into the senses. That verse
Atak Sri Krishna Nama Adi Navavet Grahyam Indriya.
Avirbhuya Manovrittau Vrajanti Tat Saruptam. So Avirbhuya Manovrittau, this bhava, this energy, it descends into the vritti of the mind. And then the mind becomes Tat Saruptam. It becomes spiritual light.
Okay, so that's the idea that you were saying from the Yoga Sutra also. It says that the mind takes on the characteristics and form. It takes the swarupa of the object that it meditates on, or that it's fixed on. Okay.
Because this is how Yoga Sutra is saying that if you actually meditate on an object and then you go on meditating and you come to Sampragyat. So at the Sampragyat stage there is this Grahya Grahana, Grahitri. This Bhed is there, but then the higher stage of that, this distinction goes away. When you come to Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. So the difference between Dhyan and Samadhi is this. At the Dhyan stage, you have the distinction of Grahitri, Grahan and Grahya. In the Samadhi, there is no distinction. Meaning the object and you feel like you are one with the object. And if the object is there and there is nothing else. That's what the Samadhi is. And from there you go to a Sampradaya.
So how does that, what you just described, that state of, because there's the 4 stages of Sampragyata Samadhi. So in the 4 stages of Sampragyata Samadhi, you have you have Savichara, Savitarka, and then there's Sananda and Sasmita. So, and then you have, I guess, the Ritambara Pragya and the Dharma Mega Samadhi. So in those different categorizations, I mean, if seeing is to become totally identified with the object, is that, would you say that was a part of the Vaishnava understanding as well? That you become so totally absorbed in the object that the sense of the self is completely gone. Because then, if that was the case, then how would the service or bhakti?
But this does not remain all the time. This state does not linger on. Just like there is a verse in Alankar Kaustubh that I don't remember the exact verse, but it says that Radharani is speaking. So he's saying that people say that I love you and you love me.
Yeah.
Right?
Another verse, yeah.
You know that verse. So she's talking of obviously that state. It doesn't mean that they don't love or but at that state of level there is no I or there is no you. She's saying that.
Yushmadasmat prayoga.
Then who can say that this is you and this is me? It doesn't exist because there is such non-distinction. So that is the meaning of Tattvamasi. That's what Jiva Goswami says, that this Tattvamasi is talking of that level of prema, not the way Sankaracharya interprets.
Okay, another question. Then when you have Achintya Bheda Bhed, does that mean that sometimes there's Bhed, sometimes there's Abhed, or does it mean that 2 are simultaneously the same? Both.
Because at that time there is Abhed. All the Bhed is still there, but the feeling is only of Abhed. At that time there is a feeling of Bhed, and the Abhed is also there as energy and energetic. So both actually exist. But sometimes one becomes more prominent. think we should try for this DS and all.
Yeah, I will send the page tomorrow.
It's useless.
You didn't get any